On today's episode of Inside Influence, we're giving you the top 5 audience considerations when working with an influencer. Hello everybody, my name is Tom Yanni. Welcome to the Influence Agency, and this is Inside Influence, the show that gives you a glimpse into the inner workings of the influencer marketing industry. So on today's episode, we're talking about the top 5 things that brands and agencies need to consider about the audience of any influencer before they hire them for a campaign. Let's get to it. So the first thing that you're going to want to consider before working with any influencer is review the authenticity of their audience. People can buy followers now, they can buy engagement, and it's a way to kind of game the system. So you want to make sure you're working with people that have legitimate audiences. So you can actually go and see who's following them, make sure that they're actually using the app, that they're real people, that they're not bots, that they are actually posting and they're not just following 10,000 people but have nobody following them. So authenticity is the first thing to keep in mind. The second consideration about the audience of any influencer is how many people are they reaching. Now in a previous episode, we talked about a benchmark being 20 to 25% as good. If you're reaching 20 to 25% of your followers, that's pretty good. Some people though might only be reaching 5% or 10%. So ask that influencer to show you screenshots of the impressions and the reach that they serve. Contrast that to how many people are following them to see how many people they're actually reaching with their content. Now the third consideration for the audience of any influencer is how many people are actually engaging with them. That's the beauty of influencer marketing, the two-way conversation. So again, in a previous episode, we talked about 3% being a good sort of industry benchmark as successful. Anything above that would be great. If you're getting people with 5 to 10% of engagement rates, that's really good. So how many people are liking, sharing, commenting on that? Minimum of 3%. So the fourth consideration about an influencer's audience is where do they live? If you're a US company and all of their audience is in Australia and in Europe, that's not going to do you any favors. Same thing if you're looking at a Canadian-based campaign in Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto, and all of their followers are in the United States, that's also not going to serve your purpose. So make sure you understand where their audience is located and that it's relevant to who you are looking to connect with. Now the fifth consideration is the actual interests of that audience. Now let's say you're a food company and you're going to work with somebody that has great content, but perhaps it's more related to lifestyle, more related to fashion, maybe more related to restaurants versus the actual food itself. Might seem like a natural integration, but it might not work. So you got to make sure that the interests of their audience lines up very specifically with your product or service. So in summary, what are the top 5 things you need to consider about the audience of any influencer or creator before working with them? Number 1, you got to make sure that their audience is legitimate and they haven't bought any followers. Number 2, make sure that they're reaching at least 20 to 25% of their audience. Number 3, make sure that they have an engagement rate of 3% or more on average. Number 4, make sure that the location in terms of country, state, province, or city is reflective of who you're looking to connect with. And number 5, make sure that the interests of that audience lines up with the interests of your business. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Inside Influence. Make sure to leave some comments below. We'll be sure to answer those. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next episode.